So you
Yeah.
touched a little bit on some gender stuff, and so I want to talk a little bit about that. One in tech, but then also what you're seeing with the little folks as well. Like, are there little gender differences that you see at a young age with your students? Certainly tech,
Yeah.
there's yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I
So
wonder,
I would say yes. I think our children, from even before they're born, they're being socialized into a way of being around gender, around and both, their physical gender, their psychological gender. We don't actually allow children much freedom to find their identity on their terms.
yeah,
We talk nowadays as well about how young people have a digital identity before they're even born, and their parents are starting to frame everything about them. So when
that's
children
kind
come
of
into our
scary,
school,
actually, now that you're saying
yeah,
that. Yeah,
it's fascinating, but it's also, at what point, parents are now registering domain names for their children's names and setting them up on Facebook accounts
yeah.
while
I've
they're
seen a lot of that.
yeah, and it's an interesting conversation to have, with little ones around, as they're starting to form their identity. And I've been at day school. Being culturally responsive is how we talk about it, where allowing children, no matter what their gender, their ethnicity, their religious beliefs and affiliation in their family, to be able to start to explore and express what their identity, and creating space for that. So it's all about the language. So we see it with little ones.
Yeah,
And it very much depends on their families, but there is also a fluidity that I think is happening and has been happening probably from probably elementary and middle school students down now, where um, there is a little bit more of a confidence in expressing identity. And I think because parents now of children in middle school and so forth in certain areas, are actually allowing that fluidity and freedom. So they're not as hung up on boys do this and girls do that. It's now there are multiple genders, multiple ways to express yourself. And it's no longer derogatory to say run like a girl. It's actually something now that actually, it's quite empowering,
yeah,
in how women express differently. And, the Me Too movement and a number of different social initiatives around women, I think, have impacted that, which little girls and little boys, we have to remember, they both have to be socialized around the idea of self-expression of your identity. It
yeah,
depends on families, it depends on many things. But it's
yeah.
an important, it's a really important conversation to have. And I still, to this day, will call people out, and I ask people to call me out, on things, because I grew up in country Australia. I grew up in a different generation, that and I still also am socialized with certain biases and norms.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we have to be confident in how we call each other out, or just bring it to our attention.